Okay, so I just felt we should have this conversation basically in light of the current state of the economy, targeted at young people with relation to money, like with how the economy is going, price of things keep going up, uh, incomes are not going up as they should, and people are complaining. But beyond just complaining, I'm just thinking about what can young people do? What practical things can young people do to ensure that they retain value for their money and they can relatively live a comfortable life? So I don't know, what do you have in mind?
Okay, so straight into the conversation. One of the things that I do to survive in this economic turbulent times is to always look for people who are going my direction. So if it's a group of friends who live in Medina, who work in Accra Central, they come together, use one person's car. In the morning, they go to work, and when they close from work, they all converge at one point at Accra Central and come back toward Medina. I feel that that's economical when friends come together to share the cost of, transportation, moving from one place to another.
So carpooling.
Yeah, carpooling, yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the key word in this season is necessities. Necessities. You have to break down, look at your life and cut out everything that's not fundamental to your survival. And you have to realize that God being so good, this is just a season. I think worldwide, there's a lot of chaos everywhere. There's a lot of, problems going around. So I think usually people perceive life as, we take a very relaxed point of view. And I think we've enjoyed some sort of prosperity for a while. Going out with your friends on Friday, all of these things, they're luxuries. Buying clothes all the time, they're luxuries. So I think in this particular season of time, the key word is necessities. You have to prioritize your spending. You have to be conscious. So we are in a season of drought. And I mean, throughout, times, throughout human civilization, droughts happen.
Yeah, true.
In those days when it was our farming. I mean, I think even in growing up, you used to hear stories about the 80s, some starvation, me to say, Rollins chain and all those kind of things. I was thinking about those things recently, and I was like, okay, it's never been that bad during our generation, but we still have to realize that I think we're in crisis. The price of food, just as Chris was saying, the price of basic food. I think the other time I wanted to eat ground pepper, I bought 3 tomatoes for 10 cedis. It cost me like 15, 16 cedis just to have pepper. And I was like, so now pepper is a luxury.
It's crazy.
Charlie, 16 cedis before. I'm not mentioning fish. I've not mentioned my kinky, maybe some small fried egg. You are walking on dangerous ground. So as I said, Charlie, it's a time to tighten your belt. It's a time to focus on necessities. Cut out a lot of unnecessary spending.
Okay. I think for me, I'll first start with the old boring one. Have a budget. It's very important that you have a budget. No matter how difficult it may feel, have a budget, written down budget. This is what I'm going to spend on this month, and keep yourself within it. And the reason why I think a budget is important is because there are always cheaper alternatives to anything we want. Like, you can get a shirt to buy for whatever price you want. You can get food to buy within your budget. So if you have a tight budget and you are disciplined on your budget, you can actually do it. A month ago, I was talking to a friend who told me that his house, and he's married with 2 children, that they don't spend more than 3,000 a month. And I was curious. I said, how do you do it? And then when he started to break it down for me, how they just travel from Accra to just a Brie to shop for tomatoes and things like that, because it's like 50% cheaper. And then they bring it, they blend it, they store it, and they have it there. So they have it there for a whole month. Wow. And they don't buy anything again. And every time they need to cook, they cook from the house. And that brings me to, I think, the next point. Cook. Yeah. It's cheaper to cook than to eat out, because price of food, if you go to a typical restaurant, is expensive. If you occasionally, I mean, it's fine. But then, if you're trying to live within your budget, don't always be going out. Cook. If you cook and it's even just you or you and your family, it can really sustain you for a long period of time. I think the next thing I may even want to point out is social media. I think data takes a lot of money from people, but unfortunately, how do people cut down their social media time? Because
expenditure.
I don't know. You're a social media person.
Well, so it depends on what you use social media for. If you are somebody who social media can keep in a room the whole day, so you don't have to go out to spend more, because you know that when you are out there you spend more, then social media becomes an advantage to you. So that is why we now see a lot of packages out there for, fairly cheaper data rates. People are also bringing out like alternatives to the telecommunication, data packages that we have. So I feel that generally it's about research. If you are on a tight budget, like you said, and you don't have enough to spend, you're always making sure that you are finding out the cheaper alternatives. You're looking at options that would fit into, your budget that you have. So it's important that you are always looking for that. People, and you see, one thing I believe that it's essential, especially as young people who find ourselves in a very urbanized lifestyle of going out on Friday night, Saturday night, sitting out with friends. I keep telling people that there are certain places I don't force myself to go to. It's why would I go to a particular venue, buy a bottle of club beer for 50 cedis, where you can go to a different venue and buy that same bottle of club beer for, let's say, 15 cedis? What is the difference? The difference is in how luxurious the 50 Ghana cedis place is. Or you can just buy your club beer in your car, drink it before you enter into the place, right? And I do that a lot. And there's no shame in it. In fact, I had friends, just this past December, dirty December, prices were just up the roof. Like,
True.
you go to Garage is selling things like a mini club for like 60, 50 cedis.
Wow, insane.
Yeah, and it's crazy. It's all because they had the diaspora, like people, we had visitors in town, and then they had to leverage on that to make a lot of money during the December. So what I was doing was I kept a little ice chest in my car with ice and then drink that I want, right? I mean, in fact, I had friends from America and the UK who didn't find it strange that I was like, there's even a term for it. It's like pre something. You drink before you go into the club. So in the worst case scenario, what you spend in the club is just about it's less because you're just getting a bottle of water, or you just get an energy drink. But even energy drink in the club is about 45, 50, 60 cedis.
Wow.
Yeah. So it got to a point I went to buy, like, I buy energy drinks in the pack, and it's with me at home. When I'm going out, I put in my mini ice chest, put in my car, and I drink in my car before I go out to these places. That's when it is really necessary for you to go to those places. So I believe that it's a change in lifestyle. People just need to accept
change their lifestyles.
You do not have enough. Just live within your means. Don't try to be like people and front a certain lifestyle that you cannot keep up with. I have had this watch for God knows how long, because I do not have money to buy a new one. So people will say topapa preko, because once you get something original, you are able to use it for a very long time. For a very long time, my normal outfit is just like a regular black t-shirt, just a pair of jeans. I have been wearing a pair of jeans for like over 3-4 years, the same thing, but just that I keep it well. I'm maintaining it well. So maintain the things you have, very well, so they can last for you in this season.
Okay.
I think basically, I mean, even we have to redefine how a bachelor even lives in this season. You know, there has to be a change in lifestyle, just as you said. Cooking, I mean, guys don't really consider cooking as something normal. Buy food a lot, you know, go out a lot. But Charlie, there has to be a reconsideration of lifestyles. And just as you're saying, it's a big struggle to save, but you have to. You have to. You have to put something aside. I mean, things happen in life, unforeseen circumstances, but at least every month or however you earn your income, you always have to put something aside and pretend as if that money doesn't exist.
It's gone
for a rainy day. So, just as I said, there has to be a reevaluation of how we. I mean, at first I was very, quite inconsiderate of how I spend my money on food and stuff like that. But I mean, in the last few months, as things got tighter and tighter, I just realized that, okay, now I just maybe get some chicken in the freezer. I bought an air fryer.
Wow.
Yeah. So now I just put some chicken in the air fryer and then Charlie.
And that's it.
You have to cut down on certain expenses. So that's what, that's the reality. It's not every time that you're going to be having abundance. It's just a general season. Now, even when you are conducting business, I would say that, add streams of income, hustle. But the truth is that everybody is tight.
Yeah.
It's not even a good season to start a business because people don't have that disposable income. So I can't even advise you that, start a side hustle. It's a generally bad season. So we have to really put ourselves together and figure out a way how to survive and be thrifty, be very conscious of how you go about things and how you conduct your lifestyle. Be deliberate, you know. Yeah.
I think the last thing I'll say is that because bad times always pass and they are followed by good times. So you have to prepare for the good times. And the way to do that is to invest in yourself, learn new things, acquire new skills now. Maybe even now you may not have a need for it, but there are lots of short courses you can take now because the bad time will pass, and when the bad time usually passes, it's followed by a very good season. And during those times, what I've seen is those who were prepared are those who are able to immediately take advantage of all the opportunities that come. So maybe you're a student, you just finished school. That time you have, I tell people that finish school that time you have where you are home is a very precious time. You can actually acquire a whole degree within that time. You can do a lot. And by the time you are done, and the good thing for us is the fact that if your economy is bad, you can still make money from someone else's economy if you have the right skills. So if you spend time to invest in yourself now, learn, use social media well to find where the opportunities are. When the times change, you find out that you'll be among those who are well positioned for those opportunities. But thank you guys. I hope someone gets to pick some of these pointers and guide them, because to me it's better for you to actually be rich than to look rich, like what social media says. But because if you look rich, one day they'll ask you for money and you won't have it.
But you see, that's the point. I forgot to say that in the past, it was difficult for me to tell people that I do not have money. But I realized that there's been this reorientation, and I just tell people, no, I don't have. And it is okay to say no. I mean, you see, and a lot of it is going on right now on alumni class pages, WhatsApp groups. Someone's getting married, everyone has to contribute. Someone dies, everyone has to contribute, and there's that shame in not being able to contribute when everyone's asking for money. But the point is, Unibi, you don't have it. And if you don't have it, you should be able to have that confidence to say, I don't have it. Because people have been led into a lot of debt. They are owing monies because they cannot say no to people, and they have to go and borrow, and then make sure that they keep up with a certain lifestyle. And at the end of the day, they are in more misery. In addition to the economic, turbulent season. So that's all I have to say. People should just learn to say no.
Okay. Thank you so much for sharing these key points with us, and I'm sure it will be very beneficial to the young people who are listening to us. Thank you.